Welcome back, everyone. Bonny-Lynn Russell here, and I'm joined with Amy Rost, and we are really excited today to talk about the Pilates body. So how are you doing today, Amy?
I'm doing great, and I'm so excited to bring up this maybe controversial topic slightly, but I think an important topic. This is a topic we as teachers and as a community have to talk about. So the Pilates body, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think I can tell you what it's not. How about that? I think so many of us, think when we think Pilates, we think of someone, 5'10" in a matching unitard that's rail thin, white, with perfect flexibility and pointed feet. And it's so easy to dismiss it and be like, oh, that's not me. I can't relate to that. I will never look like that, or that isn't relatable. But I can tell you, as someone who is not that I am definitely have always been a curvy, curvaceous teacher, but someone who loves how Pilates makes me feel. Pilates makes me strong, and it truly gets my body, which is not what I think society thinks, gets to what a stereotypical Pilates body might look like, gets it to a place that feels strong and empowered and capable. But that's, what about you, Amy? What are your thoughts on that, on what you think the Pilates body is or what it isn't?
Well, I think if we go back, and we're classical teachers, so we go back and we look at the work of what Joseph Pilates left us. Yes, it was a guy who designed this. I think Joe's vision, we know from the history, he wanted everybody doing this. It didn't matter. I also think sometimes social media or Pinterest or those sorts of things where you see it's just this one type of body, it really isn't. If you go into a Pilates studio, it is my studio is, I know yours is as well. It's diverse in background, in color, in shape, in size, in race, in gender, in all of those things. And I think as a community, what we need to do better is really extend that invitation to all bodies. I believe Pilates meets you at any stage you're at. There's nothing that really irritates me more than I go to somewhere and someone says to me, "Oh, you're a Pilates teacher. I really, I have a weak core. I can't do Pilates." Actually, you're the person who needs to do Pilates because we can help strengthen your core. But I think it's important that it's an invitation, that it doesn't look the same in every body. Even if we lined up all the Pilates bodies that we think is just a Pilates body, they don't move the same.
Yeah.
They don't move the same. And I think sometimes we forget that. Sometimes I don't think we always showcase that in the best light or in the most diverse way. And I think it's beginning this conversation because, like you touched on, how you feel in your body. I'm a middle-aged lady who's had 4 kids, a set of twins in that. So my body's been through a lot. Pilates has kept me strong, but my body has been on a journey. And we've been through a really challenging time still kind of in a pandemic, but through this time, it's changed our bodies. Our routines haven't looked the same. So I think the focus really needs to shift away from, it has to look like this. Rather, it needs to be, what feels good for you? Where do you feel your strength and empowered and feel like you're moving from your strongest self? I think that's what a Pilates body is.
Absolutely. And I think any well-trained teacher can help you get there. Because same thing too, Amy, whenever it's always, at a cocktail party, not that I've been to many of those lately, the last couple of years, but when you say that you're a Pilates teacher, you usually get this, I don't know, I do often, I get this list of why I couldn't do Pilates, because people have this kind of predefined expectation. And, forgive me for saying, but they often think it's for women that are young and extremely flexible and thin. And I was like, nothing could be further from the truth. Where really the body is wherever you are at right now. That's the beauty of the work. You know, we have the access, we have all these amazing pieces of apparatus. We could use springs for support. We can gear you out. We can use pillows. We can make you feel comfortable. We can get you to a point where you feel safe and supported in your body, so that you start to learn and move in an efficient way and start to love and appreciate the size and the type of body you have right now. It's such a beautiful thing.
It is. And it's, we all get one body. This
Yeah.
is our container to live in, to take care of, and to take with us in our journey of life. You don't get a do-over. But what we can do is, how do we take that body we have and help it be strong, help it move with ease and, grace and good posture? Those are the things that Pilates can bring to it. I always go back to, I read this really powerful book that I just want to share. And it's called The Body Is Not an Apology. And
Ooh, what a title. I think, can you repeat that, Amy?
Yeah. So it's called The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor. And it really forces us to take a real honest look at the conversations we're having around our body. She really focuses on radical self-love, and movement is part of that radical self-love. We are meant to move. We are not meant to be, sedentary and still all day long. Our body is meant to move. So no matter your size, it's an invitation to movement. I think sometimes we know as teacher trainers, it can be a little intimidating because we do teach right through to the advanced work. The expectation isn't that everybody will do the full advanced work, but what you can have is an understanding of the advanced work. You could be working towards that if that's something that you want to do, but you can teach it in its fullest capacity just based on your knowledge. And to be honest, the most advanced work isn't for everybody. Not everybody is built for that. And that doesn't dismiss that body. That body can work in that, in that really magic place, whatever that is, and get a little stronger every session. And Joe talks about that in Return to Life over and over. Were the repetitions, doing it regularly, that it continues to strengthen your body and, fills you with that zest and pleasure.
For sure. And you brought up a good point that I want to kind of expand on, is the idea of the advanced exercises. And I've taught many students in the past, and they were always intimidated. They would see, maybe a really advanced mover, or I shouldn't even call it that, but say someone who has been practiced for a long time, that had the predisposition that they could go into these pretty, let's say extreme. Some of the advanced work can look very intimidating. But what's so beautiful, especially in the classical system, is you could take that exercise that's very complex, and you could break it up into little components, little ingredients and skills. And I guarantee you there are hundreds of exercises elsewhere that develop and foster those skills. So you never feel inadequate or less than, or that I can't do something, like perhaps in the canopy of the Cadillac. I can actually work on those skills, that the building blocks that are required in that exercise, everywhere else in the studio, where I'm going to feel safe, supported, as appropriate for my body, for where it's at. And that's really something I'm really passionate about, is feeling like, how can I take this body, still challenge them, still give them, but to make them feel safe and supported to wherever they're at. And then just kind of keep moving the dial, moving the carrot a little bit, so they get a little better each time they come in. I think that's like such a beautiful part of the classical work.
And I think that's really what it's all about. It's those small little steps. Every day we can make a choice to move a little bit more, or move in a deeper way, or move, whatever our body needs even that day. And I think the really important thing when in talking about, a body, any body, is a Pilates body. It is. It's meant for movement. Now,
Yes.
it may not appeal to everybody, and that's okay too. But again, it's an invitation to not achieve a certain size or weight on the scale. It's really, I think, about a feeling. I think it is about how you feel when you move through your everyday life, and keeping that. Like, I always look at the elders who are still around, and they're, into their 80s, and some now into their 90s. And I love learning from them, and I love watching them move. And it's like, that's what Pilates is for. It is for it can be for your entire life, should you choose.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is super exciting.
Absolutely. And it shifts the expectation that, I don't know about you, but I sometimes come across people where this sort of attitude that once I reach a certain age, or perhaps once I, whatever is considered quote unquote a senior, I need to start taking it easy or slowing down. And that's actually not true. I feel like maybe your needs are a little bit different, but the more you move, the more you nurture your body and keep it feeling strong and supple, there is no reason why you can't have an active lifestyle to do the passions that you love to do, to play with your kids, grandkids, great grandkids for that matter. And you can do so with ease and don't feel broken and wrecked. That, I think, should be the goal. It should not be to look a certain way or to get a silly picture on Instagram. I mean, that's so not the furthest from the truth what Pilates should be about.
I agree. And I think if we go back to that book, like thinking, okay, the body's not an apology. Also, every body has a story. It's been on a journey, and you've gotten to this point, and different things have happened to each body. And when we take that into consideration and look at really just the body in front of us, and look at that, we use the classical framework, of course, but looking at that framework and how can I serve this body today? What will serve this body to, leave my studio or my class feeling, energized and, just feeling better than when they came in, so that they really do leave feeling a little lighter. That, I think, is what the goal for me is really important when I teach. It's really important to me also is that I extend to that greater community. Like, I'm always looking at ways, remember, from 7 to 90, there's something in Pilates for everybody in between, no matter what their journey has been.
Yeah. And that kind of brings up another point too, that I believe, because I'm very fortunate that I have a private clientele. Some of them have been seeing me for over 10 years. So when you work with someone for that length of time, I mean, there are seasons of life. There are seasons to push and to train and to maybe really get to everything's aligning that they really want to, work hard. But there's maybe other seasons of life where extreme stress may be happening, or maybe they've recovered from an injury. Their sessions are going to look very, very different. And I think that's what's the beauty of this work. And that's maybe the only reason why I've been able to have this sort of longevity with some of my clientele, is that it can always meet the person where they're at and how they're feeling that day. Just, I've had people that can do the advanced practice, but we might take it way down. It's not about pushing all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's a whole other discussion, but
That's another episode.
I'm sure you have a lot to share on that.
But I also think this is, for us, it's important that this is really an invitation to teachers of all backgrounds.
Yes.
And that's part of our curriculum, is looking at teaching, with bodies with different, stories, like I said, their journey. And I think it's that invitation to, you don't have to be a certain size to be a Pilates teacher. We need to break down all of these barriers, and that we need to be, an open and a diverse industry that is inviting more diversity into it. Because when we bring more diversity, we have different conversations. we have a deeper connection and a different perspective on movement, because movement means different things in different cultures. Like there is so much depth there that I think we haven't even begun to tap into. And I think it is something that I know we are both passionate about. And so extending that to someone thinking about teacher training, you do not have to be one size. We are not going to make you wear a bodysuit.
Amen.
We are not. But it is that invitation to be like, if you've experienced Pilates and you love it and you want to share it, I can guarantee there are at least 50 other people in your circle who need to experience it, and they need to experience your gift as a teacher. So this really is an invitation to more, and to really break down that barrier of a Pilates body. There isn't just one. It's made for all. And when you look back, when we look at the pictures of Joe, he had a diverse studio. It was not just one body type. There were all kinds of different body types, different backgrounds, different colors, different races, different genders. And I think that's really, we've got to keep that essence of that work moving forward.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Amy. It's so true. And, I also think and you touched on it too, sometimes people think, oh, am I too old to start? Or am I too whatever, insert the blank, insert the negative insecurity, whatever it is. It truly is for everybody where you're at. And we have all this incredible tools at our disposal to help support you. And you'll be amazed at how you might have this start to really love your body, where you're at the size you are, at the age you are, at the history, the story you've been through. And that is a better gift than performing some sort of acrobatic skill. It's really about getting in tune and loving yourself. And that's going to transmute and transmit all this extra joy, zest, and pleasure in all areas of your life.
And it's nurturing this container we have. We have one. And so when we as teachers, of course, embody and embrace the practice that we continue to do as we teach this, but that as we go on, like we've said, it's a different season, a different journey, a different set of rules, but we're really nurturing the body to take care of it so you can move today, but so also you're strong to move tomorrow and then the next day. And that, I think, when we really break it down to that, because so much of Joe's work is like, this is so functional movement. It's like, he was so ahead of his time. And I think we have to remember that, and pass that on, because really, the more people who are touched by Pilates, we know, feel that the love and the passion and that deep, core sweat in there, it changes your life. It changes your life, and it changes how you move.
Yeah. Oh, such beautiful words, Amy. As always, let us know what you think. Are you going to try Pilates? Are you inspired by this episode? We would love to hear a comment, or better yet, give us your review, share with a friend, and we'll talk to you next time.